Hey guys, what's up? And welcome back to another episode of the Nest Podcast. This is episode number 70. I can't remember the guy's name episode. Forgot it. Presented by
John
Sportszilla. Yeah, there's not really many 70s players that are that well known, but whatever. I'm your host, Brandon, and joining me, two special co-hosts from Locker Room Talk, we got Wallow. Say hello to the peoples.
Hello, peoples.
That's what he does on his show. And then from Into the Woods podcast, you know him, you love him, Justin. What's up, buddy?
What's up, guys?
What is up? You guys are coming through a little quiet in my headphones.
All right, let me see if my well, is that better?
Yeah, that's a little bit better.
What about me?
Yeah, I guess we'll roll with that.
I don't want to be too loud where it's picking on your levels and shit.
Yeah, I think we'll roll with that. That'll be good.
Okay.
All right. Guys, what is up in the NFL? I know, Wallow, you probably only know about the blowout in Jacksonville because you're not a football fan per se, but I heard you guys talking shit about the Cowboys on your podcast this week.
Oh, yeah, the Cowboys and the Bears.
Yeah.
Gayest game on TV.
You got the broke back boys and the big burly bears.
That's right. We talked about that a little bit. I just couldn't figure out how Jason Garrett has managed to hold on to his job for almost a decade.
Yeah, you guys kind of broke it down and looked up the stats on it for me, so I didn't have to. But he has been the head coach of the Cowboys officially since 2011, but unofficially since 2010 when he took over as the interim. So you're right. He was been the Cowboys coach for the entire decade, and they've won 2 playoff games.
Chris was trying to tell me that he's been only the coach for like 4 years, and I'm like, no. Look that shit up. I remember him on the sidelines, longer than that. So,
well, and he was a backup quarterback to the Cowboys in the 90s when they had their big dynasty with Aikman and Smith and all of them. So
yeah,
he's been
a very
Cowboy.
Good one at that.
No, he sucked, but he's been a Cowboy for a long time.
Yeah.
I saw something. Jason Witten finally got pissed off at him. You saw him going off on the bench.
Yeah,
Please
and
Wallow called him a pussy or something.
Mm-hmm.
Wallow, when we were at the Muay Thai fights this week, my phone started blowing up that the Elizabethton Cyclones won the state championship. Jason Witten went to Elizabethton High School with Justin.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
So how come you're not on the Cowboys?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't get osmosis with that, but Sean, the coach of the Cowboys that played for Virginia Tech, his older brother, is married to my cousin Katie. So my kids call Jason Witten their uncle, which I guess that's cool for them to tell their friends. But no matter how many times I tell them that's not your freaking uncle, they still call him uncle. So
whatever, Pops, you don't know shit. That's my uncle.
They still call him Uncle Jason. So whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
don't hate on them.
He's related.
Yeah, but I've never seen him get mad like that. And he was going off on Garrett, and then 2 days later he was hiding in the stands. He hid the whole game, by the way, because he wanted it to be about Sean and not about him being there. So nobody saw him. Even the people that was filming it didn't see Jason until after the game.
Wow, that's awesome.
Which I thought was cool. Yeah, it's real cool.
I had no clue that he was there.
Mm-hmm.
The big guy at the end of the bench, it's not going to stick out.
No, he was in the stands. He was hiding up in the middle of the stands. We brought 6,000 people from our little town that probably don't even have 6,000 people.
And what's funny is they scheduled their town parade for that day, their Christmas parade. The town mayor wasn't there. The Santa Claus canceled on the fucking parade. Like the only people were there were just like 4 or 5 little organizations or groups or whatever. Everyone else was at the game.
Yeah. That's their
Fucking
fault.
Santa.
We had another parade going on right now. They actually made a second parade. The football team did because of that.
The makeup parade. They're acting like they're fucking Super Bowl champs with their parades and shit though.
Well, it's small town football, man.
Hey man, let them enjoy their class 3A, whatever the fuck it is, victory.
We're 4A, baby.
Excuse me. 4A.
But it's 4A, but we've only got enough students. We should be 2A, but we moved up a long time ago to 4A. But we beat two 6A schools this year, two 5A schools this year, and we went 15-0. So, and they're all mostly sophomores. So we got another few years with that team. It's going to be nasty.
Damn.
And to toot their horn just a little bit more, Justin's cousin is the place kicker of the team, and he was ranked the
He's
top
one of the top 4 in the state of Tennessee.
So he's pretty fucking legit too. So
that means that he's probably going to end up going to Florida State.
Nah, he's going to some kind of. He wants to join the Coast Guard. He's going to some kind of military school to play. He's going to play football, but he wants to do the Coast Guard too.
I've never seen the Coast Guard team. Are they any good?
He told me the name of the college, and to be honest with you, I never heard of it before. Like it's some obscure Division II college, but that's what he wants to do. He said he wants to join the Coast Guard. So,
fuck yeah.
Well, all right, more power to him. Do it to it.
Oh yeah.
Now, Justin, I know you're just sitting there waiting to bust my chops because you weren't on last week, so you didn't get the opportunity to bash on the Patriots. But they did you a favor and lost again this week. So go on, let me have it.
I done told you. I told you week 3. I said they haven't played no damn body. Just like the Cowboys, y'all get on your high horse. They ain't played nobody. Now they're starting to play teams. See what happens. The real football team comes out. That's all. I ain't gonna say nothing about it.
Who do they lose to?
The Chiefs.
Yeah, the Chiefs. They lost a good teams, but
they're 10-3. They've lost to the Ravens,
the Chiefs,
and the
wasn't the 49ers?
The 49ers, yeah. No, we haven't played the 49ers. Did we?
I don't know. I can't say nothing. I'm a Falcons fan. Like we won, and I'm
sure we didn't play the 49ers.
Yeah, like now every time we win, I get pissed because we had like a top 5 pick.
Hey, did Julio Jones finally catch a touchdown this week or no?
Since he said that shit last year, he went on like a 12-game streak of touchdowns.
No. Well, the question was, did he catch a touchdown this past week?
To be honest with you, I didn't even watch it. I was at boxing with my son.
It wouldn't surprise me because the Falcons, they balled this week.
Calvin Ridley caught a touchdown pass, and then Freeman had the other touchdowns.
There you go.
So I guess not.
He hasn't caught a touchdown since what, week 3?
No, shit. He caught one
overpaid.
2 weeks ago.
Man, all of these guys are overpaid, though.
Yeah. Did you feel this guy in before the podcast?
No.
Brandon hated on him like crazy, and then as soon as he started hating on him, he went on this long streak of touchdowns.
And then I had to go to respect him a little bit because he didn't bitch about getting the contract extension. He showed up to practice on time and all that stuff. He wasn't a diva about it all. So I was like, okay, I can respect this guy.
Kind of like Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, just like Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. What has he done since he got to LA?
No, not much that I've heard of.
Not a goddamn thing. That's what.
I mean, according to my fantasy team, the LA Rams defense got a lot better when he got there because they finally started balling.
But he ain't done shit. The only thing he's done this year was he got in the back of that damn van and got it. Yeah, the truck. That's the only thing he's done all year.
Well, let me ask you this. With the way that they're playing, you think they're going to re-sign him? Because he wants a lot of money.
No, I don't think so. I don't think they can afford him. They've already paid Goff $1 bajillion. They already paid Gurley $1 bajillion. They paid Aaron Donald $1 bajillion.
So where do we see Jalen Ramsey next year?
The Patriots.
It's a good question.
I don't think Cowboys or the Patriots.
I honestly, I think he's going to end up at some team that you might not expect. Some team that's primed to make a big move, maybe in Arizona or somebody like that has a young offensive core that they're developing with Kyler Murray and Kenyon Drake and David Johnson on the offensive side. I know they've got Larry Fitzgerald who's aging and they need to
Yeah,
replace,
he's not got much
but
longer.
they have some decent young wide receivers. I was watching them play yesterday a little bit. And if they could get their defense to start beefing up a little bit, then they could win more games.
Do they have the cap room?
Oh yeah, yeah. They're not paying shit for anybody really.
They ain't had a big name corner since Peterson, not Peterson, but Patterson.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been a while. It's been a good 5 years. So he might fall there. I think he might go to the Washington Renegades, XFL.
Oh, oh
the,
no.
the Manitoba Snowmen.
Yeah, that's exactly. He might him and Antonio Brown and all them fucking crybabies.
Chad Ochocinco.
Yeah, Chad
Even
Ochocinco.
even T.O. up until like a few years ago, he was still saying that he could play, but he's like 97 years old.
Yeah, they're all full of shit. They had their time and their egos bigger than their skill.
Well, and now you got Dez. Dez is that guy now that still says he can play.
Yeah.
That's who?
Shit.
Dez Bryant.
You seen he out of the league?
Yeah, but he still says he can play. He came back last year
Yeah,
and
he tried out, didn't he?
No, he made the Saints team last year and he tore his, I think, Achilles in the first practice that he had with them.
Oh, and they cut him?
Yeah, and well, I mean, he was injured and placed on IR or whatever, but essentially,
did he only sign like a 1-year deal or what?
yeah. It was just they signed him late in the year too, so it was like, hey, we're just gonna bring you on for a playoff push. Oh, you got hurt? Fuck off.
Man, that sucks for him because he only played what, like 4 years, maybe 3 years.
He played longer, and I think he only had that many good years. But
He probably had about 7 or 8
yeah,
total.
I think he played more, but his last few years were his good years. But
does he need the money? Is the question.
I heard he was broke. I heard that.
That's why he wants to come back.
I heard that a few of those guys, like Chad Ochocinco, I heard he was going broke. He's doing like soccer or some shit right now.
He's playing soccer?
He's big into soccer, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he watches soccer because he's broke.
Yeah, he's playing like some little team or some shit.
Oh, okay.
He's playing soccer.
Well, and probably not in the Premier League.
No, he ain't in the Premier League, but he's I follow him. I don't know why the fuck I follow him, but I follow him on Instagram, and he's always got soccer pictures up of him playing.
He's playing for the Sinaloa Cholos.
Yeah, probably.
I think that's the Mexican league. It's on the come up. It's legit.
Yeah. I know about as much about soccer as I do about sewing. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I don't follow soccer that much.
I
see it on ESPN, but that's it.
Yeah, I play FIFA. I don't know who the hell I'm playing with. I just usually get the little fast dude with a long ass name and play with them. I don't know.
That's how he picks his players. The faster and the longer their name, they're better.
And I know if I go too far past the other guys, they keep fucking putting a penalty on me. Like, yeah,
that's called offsides. Yeah.
I don't play it, so I don't even know what the hell he's talking about.
FIFA, man, it's fun.
I'm not much of a gamer these days.
I don't get to play it as much as these guys.
I am waiting for that Xbox 2 to drop next year because then all the Xbox games from the beginning are going to be backwards compatible. At that point, then I'm like, yeah, I'll invest in that.
I'm waiting on NCAA.
That'll be coming soon. I told, I think it was Zach that I told that it's probably not going to be 2020. It'll probably be a 2021 thing, just because they're waiting for the go-ahead to start developing. They're not going to spend a dime to start developing this shit until they know for sure that they can produce it and sell it.
Well, what game did they drop so they could do that NCAA game?
What do you mean?
I know there was like a big thing of them dropping a game so they could, focus on. They dropped the franchise. I just can't remember which one.
Now, Xbox dropped MLB 2K a while ago.
Oh, okay.
They dropped NBA 2K too. So now no, NBA 2K still here. NBA Live, they dropped it. EA did.
Yeah, but NBA Live was not really all that great compared to 2K.
It's garbage, yeah.
2K has been on the come up Shit.
I
I
play it all
remember,
the time.
dude. I remember.
2K is the Madden for basketball people.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I used to play 2K1 on the Dreamcast with
Hmm.
Allen Iverson on the cover. That game was fun as fuck.
It's
But it,
now it's kind of like Grand Theft Auto meets basketball. Like you can play your regular season games,
yeah.
but they have a whole park league, and you basically walk around the town. You can go buy new clothes, you can get haircuts, you can ride bicycles, you can go play street ball. I mean, they've kind of got like a whole community. Like you can run around. If me and you and Brandon are playing, I can walk around and find you guys, and we can play pickup games together and stuff.
Oh, that's kind of dope.
Yeah,
That is pretty
it's really
cool.
cool. It is. My daughter's really, she's getting it for Christmas, but she kind of took it from me for now. But it's fun.
Hey, you pay the bills, man. Be like,
Yeah,
yo, that's my shit.
yeah. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little bitch when it comes to the kids.
Well, and your daughter, she's a baller too, so she
Yeah,
she knows exactly what she's doing on these type of games as far as, the type of player that she wants to build and the way that that player should play. That's
yeah.
that's
She destroys me.
I bet
Well,
she's
now
a
they
baller.
have women's like they don't have it to where you can't make a woman yet. It's still only guys, but they have the WNBA on the new one too.
Cool.
And so
Oh,
when me and her play each other, she'll always get the sparks because of Candace Parker, and that's why she destroys me when we play the WNBA. And they've got the ball. I mean, the whole thing set up it differently.
that
It's kind of
that's
cool.
the only reason is because she has that one player. That's the whole reason she beat you, huh?
Yeah,
why
Parker's
he
sick.
doesn't have Cheryl Swoops?
Nah, she's retired. They don't have her on there no more.
What? No way.
My
Is
daughter's
she?
got a Cheryl Swoops jersey though, because she played for Tennessee, like the old school jersey when she
Oh,
played
that's
for.
right.
I forgot who she played for, but we got it for her when she was little. She still got it.
Nice. Is
Dude,
is that is that her thing? She wants to play ball.
She plays about 150 games a year. Yeah,
Oh, she's on a team.
she plays.
several teams.
She's in middle school. She plays junior varsity, and then she plays travel ball summer.
Oh, nice.
That's where they're at right now. I actually miss because my son boxes every day too, so I have to miss a lot of basketball. But that's what you
Yeah,
got to do
Justin spends his nights every night in a boxing gym,
every
just
day.
like you used to spend every night in a jujitsu gym or a Muay Thai gym or some other martial art gym.
Yeah, that's a long time ago, bro.
Yeah, like whenever we walked into that Muay Thai thing, I was like, the smell of sweat on the mats. It's the same smell
Yeah,
anywhere you go.
anywhere. Yeah,
Smell of
even with all.
infection.
Yeah,
Yep.
a
Staff rolling
infection.
around.
Yeah. Even with all the bleach in the world, man, you still smell it.
Oh yeah, I found that out quick. I used to let my son when he first started boxing, we'd use their stuff.
Hmm.
And after like a month, I was like, hell no. I had to buy headgear and gloves, and now I've probably spent $5,000-6,000 on boxing equipment because he goes through it so much. He boxes like 25 hours a week.
Well,
Yeah,
punching people in the face, wears the gloves out.
yeah, and they get waterlogged. Like he'll pick them up and they just kind of like droop down, like where he sweats in them. Yeah, and he's only 10, so he's got a long time to go.
Bro, wrap your hands.
He wraps them. The wraps go bad too. I don't know how many times I buy 10 packs of wraps like every 3 months.
Oh, good lord.
Yeah.
He's in there beating the fucking bags and beating faces every night, dude.
And he's fighting in the regionals January 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in Arkansas. It's for the
That's
silver
awesome.
gloves.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, man. He
Damn.
he won one belt already, right? That one
Yeah.
up in Kentucky, and
Yeah, he
then
won the belt.
he's got to fight for some more and silver gloves coming up and a couple years gold gloves.
Yeah, he fought a guy, was it 2 Saturdays ago? And it's the first time he got the living shit kicked out of him. And I was kind of glad it happened because he's kind of getting little. He fought
Big
this,
headed.
he was getting big headed, and this kid that he boxed had no skill, but he was like a foot and a half taller, and he was in middle school. My son's in 5th grade. And all he did was 1-2s back to back, like a little machine gun, like this. That's all he did, and he beat the shit out of my son. My son was diving, dipping, trying to get around. He tried everything. He could not throw punches on this kid. And I think it kind of humbled him a little bit, which was a good thing. Yeah.
Get that loss out of the way, man.
Got a black eye, got his lip busted. He had bruises all over his shoulders where the kid was missing an elbow in him. He was beat
Man,
all to shit.
most parents will be traumatized and shit. Justin's like, yeah, there you go.
I'm so used to it. He's done it for going on 5 years. He started when he was 5 years old. So I'm so used to it. Now, at first, I would get sick. Like, I'd want to puke when I'd see him do it. And now I'm just like, he's getting tired. Get him in the second round. He's getting tired. This kid never got fucking tired. He beat his ass for 3 rounds. It was bad. If I had a towel, I'd have probably threw it in that fight.
Oh,
He'd have
God.
been pissed, though. But
Eh,
speaking of fights, what about y'all watch Ruiz Joshua?
I didn't
No,
know.
no.
I watched the highlights.
Oh, you didn't. Their highlights. That fight sucked.
I heard that Ruiz came in 15 pounds over the last time that they fought, and that he really didn't train that hard. And I'm like, was that planned?
He
Maybe
knew he
for
was a one-off champ.
well,
He's a good fighter, though.
he is, and supposedly he's got good hand speed,
Mm-hmm.
like a middleweight does. And I was just thinking, did he maybe throw it so he could get a third one? And because that's a big money fight, So I don't know.
They won't give him Joshua again until Wilder fights Joshua. Because that fight's
It,
been 3 years in the making, and Joshua keeps dodging Wilder.
well, isn't Wilder tied up with Fury next?
Yeah, he's got him next, but he's really wanting Joshua like bad. Like he's wanted him for years, but he'll knock Fury out this time. I think last time he fought Fury, and Fury fights like a lightweight. Like he's like quick on his feet, real fast hands. He's huge, but he don't fight like a heavyweight. But last fight, Wilder went to try to take his head off, and he didn't fight like he normally does. I think he settles down this time. He knocks Fury out.
Well, if they book like the UFC does, it'll be Wilder and Fury again, and then Ruiz and Joshua 3, and then the winners will fight.
And Ruiz don't deserve. What pisses me off is you just won. You beat one of you got the championship. You beat Joshua, one of the biggest fighters in the world, and then you come and you admit that you partied the whole fucking time and didn't train. Fuck him, man. I loved Ruiz until I heard all that shit.
Yeah, it's a
Boxing is
bad
a
look.
hard sport, man. And for the fact that he
Everybody,
was doing that, fuck him.
everybody likes the chubby guy that can punch, bro.
Yeah, but it's because he wasn't training. He wasn't taking that shit
Yeah,
serious.
he wasn't.
People work so hard. You know how hard it is. They bust their ass to even get a decent fight. And this dude's got the belt and he says he's partied the whole fucking time. Fuck him.
Yeah, that's what I heard, and I'm like, dude, why would you do that? I mean, you just prove everybody right because everybody was saying, oh, he got lucky. That was, he's not, and he's in Joshua's caliber. He's not the same fighter that these other guys are, and I'm like, well, you know, you just proved everybody, right
Hmm.
because you took that shit lightly. You didn't put the work in, you didn't put the effort. So
So I feel bad. I told him though. I told on that text. They said, "Who you think's going to win?" I said, "I want Ruiz to win." That's where I knew he was partying and shit. And I said, "But Joshua will beat him with ease this time," and that's what happened. I think Joshua took that 2 years off. He thought he had an easy win, and he thought he's just kind of getting his feet back under him. And then Ruiz came in there and outboxed him.
well, the
But
rumor on the first fight was that Joshua had gotten knocked out in training,
yeah, I heard that
and
too.
that's why Joshua's dad was having issues with the promoter because he wanted the fight to be called off. So because he was damaged.
Hmm.
You know what happens when you get knocked out, man. You're on Queer Street for a while.
Yeah, yeah,
So
I heard that too. Either way, it was just even the whole fight was just shitty. I'm surprised there were even highlights. It was one of the most boring fights I've ever seen in my life.
well, 12 rounds of highlights took him like 2 minutes to show on TV.
Yeah, it was shitty.
So I was like, oh, all right, well, cool. I'm glad I didn't waste any money on this.
Yeah, y'all had more fun at the Muay Thai fight, trust me.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's exactly why we didn't see it, is because that's what we were doing. We were at Jack's Muay Thai.
listen,
You
we got up for a minute because my back was hurting and those chairs were not very sturdy on my back. And we walked around. Brandon got some food, and in that time, apparently the best fight happened where somebody almost died.
Yeah, We missed the fight where a dude got his arm broken. And from what I gather from listening to other people, he was trying to block a kick and it
Oh,
caught
shit.
him right below the elbow.
Not only that, they were telling him to go easy on the guy, not to knock him out so he could get rounds in,
Yeah.
keep building that experience. But the guy's like such a badass that even, holding back a little bit, he still beat up the dude.
Yeah,
That happens.
we were talking to his instructor, the guy that runs the place, Giles, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Giles, yeah. Cool guy. We were talking to him and he's like, I can't even hold the mitts for this guy anymore because he goes so intense all the time.
Yeah. He kicks too hard.
That's
And
crazy.
and we bumped into Nate Campbell while we were down there. That was
Oh,
pretty
that's
cool.
right. We met Nate Campbell. He's obviously who Nate Campbell is.
Yeah.
He
Brandon sent me those pictures too.
I
He,
sent you the Wikipedia pictures.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
yeah, he's one of the coaches at Jack's Muay Thai. So he was there. That was cool.
That was
He's
cool
got
to
a
see him.
yeah, we were talking to him for a little bit. He's got his own podcast. Said he talks about everything, not just sports, politics, religion, whatever you want to talk about.
That's one thing. I don't like getting into religion. Too many crybabies anymore. That and politics.
Well, I think that's why he does it, because who's going to say something to him? He'll just knock it the fuck out.
That's like Mike Tyson, like taking your girl in front of you. What are you really gonna say?
Hey, make sure you have her back by at least 6 a.m. tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
We got
Shit.
church at 7:30.
Don't forget your Bible.
Oh man. Got a pretty interesting UFC card coming up next week, right? The Usman Covington.
Yeah, and also my girl.
Oh, Amanda, she's fighting again, yeah.
Yeah, Jermaine Durandamy.
Yeah, I don't see there being a woman on the roster that's going to step up and take either one of her belts.
I believe her name is Henry Cejudo. She might, but
We're going with the
We still
intergender championship.
I still say she knocks him out. That's just my feeling.
Yeah, no, I think she could take him. If we're going to put them in there same weight, put them both at like what, 35?
Yeah, that would be
25?
35. 35.
35? Put them both at 35. I think she's tougher.
Oh, I'm 100%. You don't have to convince me. I mean, she knocked out Cyborg at
Right.
145.
Yeah,
That's not even her weight. She
I
went
thought
up a weight
Cyborg was
class
unbeatable.
Yeah.
until she got clocked.
Yeah, I thought I did. Just like I thought Rousey was unbeatable too, till she got kicked in the head.
Well, the whole card is awesome because you got Uriah Faber coming back to fight Peter Yan. Then you have Jose Aldo making his 135 debut
Dude,
against Marlon Moraes.
Yeah, he'll
Damn.
smoke him.
I'm worried for Aldo.
I think he's going to get knocked out bad. Then, my homegirl. Then you also have Max Holloway against Alexander Volkanovski. And then, of course, the main event, you got Usman versus Covington. And there's some bad blood there. So that should be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great card. I was looking at the main card earlier today, and I was shocked that Faber is on the main card. I was excited to see that.
Why? Why would you be, shocked?
I didn't know that he was on the card. Is what I'm saying.
The
Like,
legend.
well, no, I
household
like
name.
he can be there. That's fine. I was shocked when I was looking at who was fighting. I was like, oh shit, he's back.
Yeah, he.
I had
His
no clue
last-
that.
His last fight, he knocked out Ricky Simone, who was making his UFC debut.
Welcome to the UFC, son.
It sounds like my buddy that made his UFC debut.
What was his name?
Jonathan Pierce, JP.
Oh, who did he fight? I remember seeing the fight, but I can't remember.
Who did he fight? He fought a boy that's got like the number one prize money in the UFC.
Oh, J-Law. Joe
Joe
Lazone.
Lazone. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, what a way to get your first fight against fucking him, dude. My God.
Bro, I remember when Joe Lauzon first fought in the UFC. He was fighting. Ah, fuck, what's his name? The first 155er champ, James Pulver.
Yeah.
And this motherfucker comes out, and I'm like, who the fuck is this Lloyd Christmas looking guy? I've never seen him, and he looked like Lloyd Christmas from Dumb and Dumber. He
Yeah.
had the hair, he had the haircut and everything, and knocked him out stiff.
Yeah.
So he's been at it for a little while.
Did he come up through the Ultimate Fighter?
Yeah, he did. But before he came through the Ultimate Fighter, he had that fight with James Pulver.
Oh, okay. So he made his debut before the show. Okay.
Yep.
I know that's the first time Pierce has lost, and God, I couldn't tell you the last time he lost. And like I said, he got his ass handed to him. It was quick.
Well, Pierce was on the Contender Series, right? And he was awarded a 3-fight contract.
Yeah, he's got 2 more left.
So hopefully he'll pull out a couple dubs, and we'll see him around for a little bit.
Yeah, well, I read that he was trying to get Lauzon to retire, and so Dana White thought if he went out on a win that he would retire. Apparently he's not. I read about it after the fight. So I think Jonathan got kind of through to the wolves a little bit, kind of like a little bit of bait, hey, beat this kid's ass, you know what I mean? But well, I guess that's part of it, man.
Well, and he didn't really put up much of a showing in that fight. It would even a loss can be advantageous to a young fighter if they show something, but he got mauled.
Yeah, he didn't show shit. He didn't have a chance. He got took down. He wasn't getting back up.
Yeah. Oh well. Hopefully the next 2 fights
happens,
go his
man.
way. Yeah. You're not going to win them all.
And then my other homeboy, he knocked out Wilder's brother during the Wilder pay-per-view fight. Was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, he knocked out Wilder's brother. Did you see that knockout?
Yeah.
That's one. He trains at my gym, Dustin Long. He's only had 2 boxing fights. He's an MMA fighter, and he hasn't fought. And they gave him 10 days to get ready for that fight. So they basically paid him to get his ass beat, and then he knocked him out.
So is he going to get another boxing fight, or
yeah,
what?
He's fighting in the Staples Center in February.
Oh, I can't see
all
it.
Because he was all over. He was everywhere. World Star Hip Hop. I was joking with him at the gym yesterday, and I was like, "Man, I hate you, bro." He said, "Why?" I said, "I can't even watch Pornhub no more without your fucking highlight coming on." I said, it ruins the shit out of it for me. He's like, "You're stupid, man." I was like, "Yeah."
World Star.
Yeah, he's on World Star. He put that's the first thing he put up. He said, "I made World Star."
Yeah, because he put it up, right?
And he's like I said, they basically gave him that fight to lose because we've got 3 or 4 other guys that are world champions that would have loved to had that fight. But they didn't want them. They wanted the guy that hadn't fought in 2 years that would do it in 7 days, basically.
Well, hopefully he made some decent money.
Oh, he did. And he's about to make more. He's making almost double on this next fight.
Oh,
Good
nice.
for him. Good for him. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we love to see anybody, go out there and succeed and
make some money.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about.
He didn't do shit. Like, we were cussing him the whole fight. He threw like 10 punches. But it just happened one of them knocked him out. Like,
That's all you need.
We cussed him for 4 rounds, so they knocked him out.
Technically, all he needed was just 1 punch.
No, he wasn't. You could tell he wasn't ready to fight. And I asked him about that. He said, "Man, I was exhausted walking to the ring." He said, "I hadn't trained in so long." He said, "I was afraid to throw a bunch of punches." He said, "I was waiting on that one."
Well, it worked. And, we talked about it a little bit on the pod, but he set it up by going southpaw.
Yeah, he did it in the 3rd. And then I think he's seen it at the end of the 3rd. So then in the 4th, he came back to it within about a minute in the round. And yeah, he saw it. That's the same move that my son's coach does to him all the time and lands a punch on him. So basically he got his ass beat by it so many times that he knew how to throw it, and it worked.
No, I mean, it's proof positive that you can learn shit by watching it. A kid recently, Wallow, you'll know the name, pulled off the 2nd twister in UFC history or in MMA history.
Oh yeah, Tuck Nasty.
Yeah, and then he immediately posted online that he learned it watching Eddie Bravo on YouTube.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's how we learn, by watching stuff.
Hell yeah. I mean, a lot of stuff that I do, I've learned also on YouTube. I
Yeah.
mean, obviously, the majority of it, it comes from the training in class, but I go to YouTube as well. I see some shit, I think I could do it. Fuck, I'll practice it,
Yeah.
and it works.
What is it? BMAC that has had the 1 minute hacks.
He still does.
He still
BMAC
does
right
them.
now. BMAC, man, he's like a media mogul right now. I mean, he's got so much stuff, so much content out there that it's ridiculous. And he's got a guy that's doing all his filming, so it's not like somebody's holding this a phone and recording it. And here's your 1 minute YouTube jiu-jitsu hack, and that's how he used to do it back in the day. Now it's like everything's professional, bro.
Oh yeah,
So,
he stepped up his game. He
oh,
started getting some
majorly.
traction. He started getting mega views, and then he just upped the
The
production
value of his
value.
product,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. He's got almost like a online university with different types of training, like leg locks, rubber guard, all kinds of stuff. So anybody that's into jujitsu and wants to learn some 10th planet, and they're not in an area where there's 10th planet, I would go to BMAX website.
Dude, we were talking a little bit this weekend, Wallow, when we were at the fights and stuff. Um, when I first started doing BJJ, like 2006, 2007 timeframe, all this wasn't out there on YouTube. At least I didn't know how to
Oh
fucking
yeah.
find it. Um, the only thing that I had was the Jujitsu Unleashed by Eddie Bravo
Okay.
that introduced me to Eddie Bravo, 10th Planet, the Rubber Guard, the Twister, anything like that. And that
Yeah.
was basic as fuck. If you've looked at that book, it's basic. The inside cover of mine is autographed by Eddie Bravo. It says "Keep rolling."
Nice.
Yeah,
Eh,
I
but what
met him way back then.
what he meant was keep rolling a joint.
Joints. Yeah, because it's right beside the picture of him with the pot leaf on his forearm. And oh god, good old Eddie Bravo.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I met him way back then, and I had his book, and that's what I was trying to learn. I was doing stuff in the gym then that a lot of guys didn't know and see because I was reading it in his books. I was trying to find other sources of information, and my instructor at the time was open to the no gi and all that, and he really pushed Eddie Bravo on us. So I wasn't with a 10th planet school, but we were definitely aware of the awesomeness of the system and tried to utilize it.
Well, once he beat Hoyler Gracie, that
It,
was
it blew up.
it blew up. So yeah, it was out there. I mean,
Everybody wanted it. Yeah.
that's how I found out about him. I mean, it was a long time before I was able to like actually do any 10 planet training. But yeah, I've known about him forever now. So
hmm And yeah, and it wasn't until I moved to OP that I even stepped into my first 10th planet dojo.
yeah, I started in the gi, but I always prefer no gi because I don't like when people grab my collar. And if I'm having issues with my hands and I can't pop a collar, it's just a pain in the ass. Like in no gi, there's no popping of the collar. Everything's a clinch base. You holding on to like the big muscle groups instead of holding on to like a gi. I don't have good grips because my wrists are fucked up from all the jujitsu, from the years of doing it. But I prefer no gi, man.
Yeah,
100%.
I do too. And I wanted to train no gi specifically whenever I first started because I don't wear a gi when I'm out at a bar. I don't wear a gi when I'm, at the movie theater or at the mall. I'm wearing a t-shirt. I'm wearing shorts, I'm wearing regular clothes. And
Right.
the other guy's probably wearing regular clothes too. So if all I do is train for reaching and grabbing collars and there's no collar to reach and grab, then I'm not as good as I could be.
I see that point, but there's also the point of where does Justin live?
Tennessee.
Tennessee. it gets cold as fuck up there, doesn't it?
So they wear jackets. Gotcha.
Oh, it's cold as fuck right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So you look at all these places that get cold, man. You got somebody fucking with you. They got a jacket on. Guess what you're gonna do?
Right. So
You're gonna grab that collar. You're gonna grab that sleeve.
it's not bad to know,
Yeah.
but you could also still use the muscle groups in a jacket.
Even down here, somebody wearing a hoodie, you can grab the hoodie and use it like if it was a gi, and dump them on their head.
Nah, motherfucker, that's when you go NHL and pull that bitch over their head and start throwing body shots.
or some knees. Fuck it.
Knees, yeah, Muay Thai knees.
Yeah.
That's what they kept yelling every time there's a clinch. In
Clinch,
boxing, whenever there's like a little tie up and the ref steps in and pulls apart. Anytime there's a tie up in Muay Thai, everybody knee.
Yeah, that was good, man. That was fun. It was good to see my buddy JP win his fight. That was good.
Yeah, shout out Jason. Good job on his fight. Dude's 44 years old, still goes out and competes.
Damn, that's awesome.
Yeah.
He's in great shape, man.
Sounds like Roy, Roy that just won the WBC title belt, Trenton's coach.
Yeah.
He's 44 years old, got like a 12-pack. He got abs on his throat and shit.
Oh yeah,
huge.
our homeboy's got a 6-pack too.
I don't understand it. I told him, I said, I can't even get out of fucking bed in the morning. You're sitting here running 20 miles a day, and it's crazy. He's fighting again too, coming up for his belt. He got that green belt, now everybody wants a piece of him because that green belt's the real one.
That green belt is such a beautiful belt. Mm-hmm. That should be like the only belt out there. It should be the green one, and you maybe have like a little, place where you can place a badge for like WBO, WBA, all the other organizations.
Yeah, there's a shit ton of them. Yeah.
Yeah, because some of those belts, they're like ugly as fuck. Yeah. It's like get rid of those.
I like
sick.
I like that the gym Tri-Cities Boxing shared a picture on Facebook not long ago. There was all the guys just sitting around bullshitting, watching TV, and then it had the front desk with like some papers and registration shit, and then just the belt sitting there. Like, oh yeah, no big deal. That's here too.
Yeah, we got a few. It's funny, like Roy's got the same belt as my son, which is a title belt. But Trenton's like weighs maybe, it's real leather, but the thing's plastic.
Okay.
Well, Roy's is made of like, heavy ass steel and shit, like the real thing. And like Trenton's weighs maybe 5 pounds. Roy's weighs like 50 pounds. Like it's a big difference. But, as a kid, I guess they look the same. So
it's like those UFC belts before they changed them. They were 25 pounds.
Yeah, that's how his is heavy. That green belt is very heavy. Where it's got the golden stuff on it. Super heavy.
Is it 24 carats or is it like painted on?
I don't know. It's fucking pretty though. I don't know what it is.
When does he fight again?
He has to defend his belt in 120 days. He's got a fight with a guy that's 22-1. January 15th in Nashville.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think that's that Saturday. Whatever that Saturday or Friday is. I think it's the 15th.
We'll have to keep us updated on that.
Oh yeah.
Now, Justin, I don't know if you've heard, but Dana White came out recently and said that he's got something cooking with Floyd Mayweather. Now, you definitely don't think that's MMA, right? Think
he don't have a chance in hell.
Right. So you think he's part of the Sufa boxing type of thing as well?
I could see him doing something like Oscar De La Hoya did when he brought his whole company on to boxing. I forgot.
Golden Boy?
Yeah, Golden Boy in.
Yeah.
I could see Dana trying to get into that with Floyd. Floyd, he's 55-0 now, I think, or 53-0? 50-0.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he passed Marciano at 49. So I'd hope he's not stupid enough to step into an octagon.
He's not.
All you got to do is take him down. Just like McGregor never had a chance in hell to really beat him. He toyed with his ass for 6 rounds and then he destroyed his ass.
I think you guys are right. I think that it's going to be some kind of partnership. Maybe Mayweather bought some kind of ownership rights or something like that in the UFC or with Zuffa. But I don't see him getting in the octagon, even for an exhibition. I think he's past all that.
Well, Dana's a great businessman. And he knows that in boxing, it's the only sport where you can make $300 million in one night. Like when Floyd and McGregor fought, McGregor got like 120 million. Floyd got $300 million. He knows that money's there. He'd be stupid not to go toward boxing, at least try to get a piece of it.
And that's his background too, isn't it,
Yeah,
Dana?
I think that's where he started was boxing.
Yeah.
So I can see that happening because Floyd's got so much fucking money, and he's stupid as a brick. So if Dana
Now,
does all the legwork.
does he have a lot of money, or is he blowing it
Oh
all?
yeah, he owns like 20 strip clubs. Like his strip clubs make like millions of dollars a day. Yeah.
My man.
Speaking of strip clubs, if you guys haven't watched the movie Hustler with J-Lo, that's a pretty decent movie.
I ain't seen that.
And
I haven't either.
let me tell you, J-Lo looks better now than when she was a fly girl in Living Color.
Well, yeah, I know that for a fact. I remember
Why?
her in Living Color.
Bro, in this movie, she's wearing like this, just a string.
Oh,
And I was
I'd watch
like,
that.
wow. I was very impressed. For a 50-year-old, she looks amazing.
Dude, her, Jennifer Aniston, uh,
She puts most of the 20-year-olds to shame nowadays.
Selma Hayek,
Well, Salma Hayek's a little bit older, you know.
still hot.
She's still hot, but she's
Still
not,
can get it. Still
Yeah.
can get it.
absolutely, but she's not J-Lo hot right now because J-Lo's like in phenomenal shape.
It's just crazy to me though. Like some of these like celebrities, how much do you think that is? How much do you think they would be like that if they were normal people, or do you think it's only because they're celebrities and have gazillion dollars that they can spend on their food and their nutritionist and their personal trainers and surgeries and any kind of other things that you can think of?
Well, it's a way of life. I mean, if they started a healthy lifestyle, you know, before they were, you know, famous, because she was in shape, she was always been in shape. So I mean, if
Well,
she
sure,
had a
we were
healthy,
all in shape when we were in our teens and 20s.
right, I understand. But what I'm saying is, if she had the habits, you know, back then it's easy for her to carry those habits into, you know, now where, you know, she's famous and a movie star, you know, and everything that she does. So I mean, it could be that the money also helps. I mean, if I had her money, I wouldn't be working. I'll probably be at the gym, you know, early in the morning, and that's, you know, I feel great in the morning. You know, sometimes I'm at work and I'm like, fuck, man, I got this energy and I just feel like I want to go work out now. But then once I get off of work, you know, I've had a full day, and then I'm like, man, fuck, I'm tired. It's like sometimes I don't want to go to the gym. Sometimes I have to force myself to go to the gym. I mean, I haven't been to the gym in a couple of weeks since I hurt my back, but you know, a lot of times it's like I wish that I could do it in the morning. You know, and if I wasn't working, you know, and had again her money, I'd fucking be working every morning.
Well, and you also have to consider that she's, I guess now they're engaged. Her and Alex Rodriguez are now an item.
Boo.
They're a couple. But yeah, boo him. He's a fucking prick. I get it. But he's a prick that knows a lot about gym stuff.
Yeah, because he juiced for like what, 30 out of 30 years out of his 40
So
since he
now,
was like since he was like 10.
so now, do you think J-Lo's on the juice?
No.
I don't know. She still
This is a
looks
slippery
feminine,
slope.
bro. She
I'll
still
tell
looks
you what it
feminine, so
is.
I don't know.
They got all that money. We have to stress about shit all the time.
That's true.
About bills. They don't have to stress about nothing. Therefore, they don't have wrinkles. They don't have gray hair. And like he said, she's got all that fucking time to work on her body. That's actually her job is to
Yeah.
fucking stay fit.
Yeah, no, it makes
Yeah,
sense. I just wanted
you also
to set you up to blast on Aroyd for a minute.
right. Aroid, yeah, I got you. But you also got to remember, you know, she has businesses that she runs. You know, she's got clothing lines. She's got all kinds of shit. So I'm sure that there's some stress. You know, some of that stress we don't know about. But you know, having the money to say, you know what, fuck it, I got assistants to handle that. I'm just gonna do my thing. It helps, sure.
Right, right. But
But
heavy is the head. And if you're at the head of an empire, you've got to have some kind of stress. You're dealing with
Yeah.
some bullshit.
Oh yeah. You got employees. You got to manage personalities.
You got
You know.
taxes.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Well, the
I mean,
accounting hopefully handles that.
well, yeah, hopefully, but I mean, still, you have to factor in all that stuff when you're a business owner and you're making profits. That's a much different tax filing system than your standard
Yeah.
person that's just doing the 1040 EZ filing.
Yeah, you're not going to H&R Block for that shit.
No, no, she has a
You-
CPA and
and the corporation,
probably a team of accountants.
you have a corporation behind you like KPMG or something like that.
Yeah. So no, they are not like us.
No,
Not at
not at
all.
all.
I'll trade my
Shit.
stress for that kind of stress all day long. You mean I have to worry about these millions of dollars I'm making? Fuck.
I mean,
I'm
yeah, I
worried. I'm
guess.
worried that my son's gonna be so big I'm gonna have to buy him a fucking school bus.
Well, I mean, he's gonna beat your ass in like 2 years anyway.
I
So,
know. I think like right when he gets on
Well,
the edge, I'm just gonna whoop the shit out of him just so I can get one last time in.
sounds like you're gonna have to buy him a bus anyway for his head.
He's actually, believe it or not, I could tell he's getting a little big headed, but he don't brag. He don't. Nobody even knows he boxes. Like
That's good.
I don't think anybody at school even knows he boxes. He's quiet to himself. I mean, he's just a humble ass kid, but he's just big. He wears like a size. He's going on a size 9, and he's 10.
well, you're a big guy too, Justin. You're what,
Yeah, I am.
6'4", 6'5", somewhere in there.
6'3", and they doctors say
6'3".
he'd be about 6'6", 6'5".
Okay, so yeah, I thought so.
He's gonna be a big son of a bitch. He'll be heavyweight, and that's what scares the shit out of me. I see Wilder knocking these fucking people's heads off, and I'm like, God.
Well, good thing he's fighting now, getting that tough chin.
He's got a chin. He don't move his head at all.
That's not a
What?
good thing.
There's no bobbing and weaving.
He eats them shits, man. That's how he wins all his fights. He eats that shit and throws 10 more back.
Oh
Oof.
boy.
He can bob and weave. He's just lazy. He'd just rather eat them.
Hey man, he's not gonna make no angles and shit.
He
God.
sometimes. It depends who he's fighting. Like that kid that came at him all crazy. He was moving like crazy. He was, bobbing, weaving, moving. But if it's a kid that's his size or smaller, he just goes right after him. He bullies him. He gets him in the corner and beats the shit out of him.
Oh man, speaking of bullies, my girlfriend's boy is being bullied at school, and he's a big kid, and he doesn't like to have issues at school or whatever. But I'm gonna have to teach him how to the 1-2
Oh
just
yeah.
to because I mean he can probably beat all those kids anyway, but he's just timid. He's shy. He doesn't want to get in trouble. But I'm gonna teach him the old one punch to the nose and the two, which is the kick to the nuts, and that'll end that.
That's it. It only takes one.
I mean, that's how when I grew up, I'd never been bullied till I was like in the second grade, and it happened once. The second time that the dude tried to bully me, I punched him square in the nose, and I kicked him as hard as I could in the balls. Never happened again.
No.
That's how you stop it, really.
Bullies always pick on the ones that won't retaliate.
Yeah.
If they know you're going to do something back, they don't want to deal with that.
Well, they were picking on a friend of his, and he told them to stop it, and they started bullying him as well. So,
Kids are mean. I told Trenton. Trenton's like that too. He's afraid to get in trouble. And I told him, I said, if it happens once, you tell them to stop and walk away. If it happens twice, you can try to tell somebody. I said, if it happens a third time and you don't beat the shit out of them, then you get an answer to me at that point. I said, but you can try a few times to get away. I said, but sometimes you can't get away from that shit.
yeah.
Sometimes
Well,
you're in a corner.
once you pop the leader, the other ones will back down.
Yep.
Man, it's going to be a bad day for some bully whenever they pick on Trenton, though.
He ain't been picked on, luckily. I think.
Well, he's a big guy, so they're probably a little like, okay, we don't want to fuck with him.
He's nice too. He's just the sweetest kid. I mean, he ain't got a mean bone in his body, but I think some of them have found out that he boxes, and nobody's ever really messed with him. But he tells me that he takes up for people. He sees people getting bullied a lot.
Good
Like,
kid.
like there's just one kid in his 5th grade class that's 6 foot tall. He's 5th grade, but he's kind of slow. I think his name's Braden, maybe. And he takes up for him a lot. And it's like I said, like you was talking about, this kid's 6 foot tall. This kid could literally just squash all these kids, but he's timid and scared to death, and he don't know that he could squash these kids.
Right.
That's until he throws that punch that knocks him out and be like, oh shit, okay, this is what I can do if they try to bully me.
And then he kicks everybody's ass at once. He just
Yeah.
goes around the school like, hey, you remember me? Yeah, it's. I hate bullies, man. If there's one thing I hate,
I
I
don't
hate a
like
bully.
bullies either, man.
Well, if they ever come to Tennessee and you need somebody under the age of 18 to handle some business, you call me. I got a whole gym full of kids.
Yeah, they won't go to jail, right?
No, they're under 18. Like I say, it depends on how old it is. I got somebody for each age.
You know, you were talking about Trenton being so humble and stuff. You know, it's probably because he's grown up in a gym where he sees legit badasses and he sees guys go out and fight and lose. He's personally fought and lost.
Mm-hmm.
So he knows, like, it's nothing to really brag about. Just keep getting better and keep working. You know, we keep mentioning when Wallow and I went to the Muay Thai fight this past weekend, but we were talking about it as we were leaving that, you know, you're out at a gym with a bunch of badasses that could all kick our asses.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got guys that represent the United States on the world stage for Muay Thai, but nobody's there to start a fight or to be an asshole or to be a dick or whatever. There, no tempers flared. It was cool, but you go to a bar, drink a fucking couple drinks or whatever, and then all of a sudden some dude's trying to get in your face because he thinks you're stealing his girl.
Mm-hmm.
Or because you looked at his girl where you were looking past her.
Or because you did steal his girl.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, motherfucker?
Did I ever tell you about the crackhead Terminator that came to the gym?
No.
What?
This sounds like a great story to end on, though.
It's funny, man. Okay, we're at a boxing gym, right? So everybody there can fight, or at least knows how to fight. Well, there's this guy that came by. He's kind of a juice head, you know, kind of big guy. And he had his girlfriend with him. And Brad Austin, one of my son's coaches, who's had 380 some fights. He's been fighting since the fucking 80s, right? He was sitting there talking on his phone, and the guy walked by and said, he said, "What the fuck you looking at?" And Brad, I was sitting beside him, and Brad, I've never seen somebody so calm in my life. He was on the phone. He was like, "Hey, hold on just one second." He took his phone. He slowly put it in his pocket, right? And then all of a sudden, he's like, "What'd you say?" And the guy turned around, and Brad like cracked him, right? He fell. He went straight down. Well, this guy gets up, and Brad kind of looks at me like smirking a little bit. Well, the guy's still talking shit, and he's trying to shot in front of his girl. So Brad hits him in the body, right? Gives him a body shot. He goes down again. He gets up a third time, and Brad's like, "Man, I don't want to hit this guy in the head. I might kill him." So he gave him another body shot, took him down again. I'm talking like 4 or 5 times. And this kid keeps getting up. And Brad had to turn around. And he started laughing. He said, "Oh my God." He said, "It's a crackhead Terminator." And then finally, because it's right in the middle of downtown where all like the druggies and shit are. So finally, I told the girlfriend, I was like, "Look, man, get this guy out of here. You know you're in front of a fucking boxing gym talking shit." I said, "Get him out of here before he dies." I said, "He can't get knocked down." I mean, he only hit him in the head once. I said, "But if he would have, kept getting up, he'd have had to crack him again." But dude was bleeding shit. I know he couldn't hardly breathe because he took 3 or 4 hard body shots. It was nasty. And then he, right after it was over, like I'd have been like amped up, like hype and shit. He just picked his phone back up and he's like, "Yeah, what'd you say?" Like just kept talking like nothing happened. I was like, "Man, y'all are like a weird breed, bro." I guess if you fight 300 times, that's just
that's all in a day's work right there.
Yeah, but Trenton will see like a street fight like that at the gym because it happens more often than it should. People come in there and think they're badasses all the time. But Trenton will see a fight now like outside of the gym, and most kids would run and be scared. And he's like running to watch it and shit. Like he's got like, I don't know. I don't like it, man, because I'm afraid he's going to run and watch it. Somebody's going to pull a gun out. But he's gotten so like calm to the fact that somebody's fighting that even if it's outside of the boxing gym, it don't bother him. It's weird as shit. It bothers me as a grown man. It don't bother him.
That shit happens everywhere. I remember, I want to say maybe about 5 years ago, my coach and a few of the guys were training in the morning, and these dudes just roll up there in their bikes, and they ask, "Hey, who wants to fight?" And my coach responded, "How much money you got?" And when they realized that they were serious, they're like, never mind. They walked away. But, you had my coach who, is a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's 6-0 as a professional, MMA fighter. Then you had a bunch of guys there that are, you know, been training forever. And a guy that was also another pro MMA fighter, the caveman. And they were just like getting ready to go. They were like, yeah, let's do it.
Hmm.
It's like people don't realize, you come to a place like that unprepared. What do you think is going to happen? Like, you seriously can't think that you're going to beat up somebody that's been training for years.
They do.
Especially if you're just some dumbass from the street.
They watch it on TV and then they beat up their little buddy, and they're like, "Oh, I'm a fucking man. I'm gonna go kick somebody's ass. I'm gonna go to this MMA gym." I see it happens at least 4 times a year. Somebody gets their ass kicked because they came in the gym wanting to fight somebody.
Well, the most helpless thing that can happen to a person is having somebody on top of them and not knowing how to get out.
Yeah, they're fucked.
It's like you get a guy who's been doing jiu-jitsu forever, takes you down, mounts you, and he can just have his way with you. He can punch you, he can elbow you, he can, do some sort of a lock and break your limbs. You're helpless down there if you don't know what you're doing.
You wet wheelies and shit. I'd have to put some wet wheelies on so I came in that.
But to your point, Wallow, as a jujitsu guy, you're also not afraid to be on your back. So if somebody takes
No,
you down, you
take me
know
down.
there are things that you can do to reverse the situation.
Hmm.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
there,
That's 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 the thing with jiu-jitsu. I mean, you learn how to fight off your back.
I
right?
remember Gracie used to like sit there on his back and like he'd fight. It's before the weight classes came into effect in MMA, and he'd fight some guy that was like 100 pounds heavier, and he'd just lay on his back and just wait on the guy like he wouldn't even get up just because
Yeah,
he wanted to bring him down.
that's how he beat Dan Savern. He was 100 and I want to say 170 pounds or 180 pounds when he did UFC one or two, and Dan Savern was like 240, 250
Right.
pounds.
The
That's the one that
beast.
And
went on forever, didn't it? Because that's
the
where they had the
the
time
yeah,
thing.
it was. I think it went like an hour, 60
Yeah,
minutes or some shit like that.
I
And
saw
then
that
at
the
the
other
end,
day.
he just slapped a triangle on him, and that's all she wrote.
Wasn't the Gracie and Sakuraba fight like an hour long too?
Oh, I never watched those fights because those were in Japan, and I didn't have a way of watching those. I mean, sure, I could probably go back in the
Yeah.
archives
Now
now
you
and
can,
watch
no
it.
problem. Yeah.
But back then, it's like you can only watch what was available here in the US unless you stayed up like really late at night and you had like FS1. And back in those days, FS1 wasn't, like like a regular channel and like it is now. But I knew some guys that were able to watch those, but it was like fucking 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, fuck that. I'm sleeping, bro. I'm
the
not
the
doing none
first
of that.
the first time I ever saw anything MMA or whatever, I was a huge wrestling fan as a kid. Still like it to this day, but I was a huge hardcore fan as a kid. And I remember I got really sick one time and was laid up in bed. And my new stepdad at the time, was like, "Do you want anything from the video store? I'm going to get something." And I told him to get me a wrestling tape because I wanted to watch a wrestling pay per view. He wasn't a wrestling fan, and he came back with a Pride event, one of the old Pride Grand Prix. That was my
Nice.
introduction to MMA. They used to just soccer style kick each other in the head. I was like,
Yeah.
Hmm.
this is intense.
It's different. This new generation, there's no way in hell they could fight for an hour.
No, there's no
No.
way. My,
Well, I
my
mean, they
introduction.
had to structure it and all that stuff to make it a legit sport.
Yeah.
Yeah, my introduction to MMA became back in 1993. I think it had been like 6 months since after the first UFC, and I'm looking for a movie, and they had like all the new releases on one side, and I saw this thing, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I thought it was like some kind of a wrestling stuff, and I looked at it again, and you always want to know who's the best art, whether it's boxing, karate, judo, whatever, sambo. And I saw this thing where he had like different kinds of fighters and different styles, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna watch this shit because I used to watch a Tough Man contest.
Hmm.
So I'm like, I'm gonna watch this shit. So I rented it, and from then on, I was hooked.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, because you're right that that age old question was who would win, a wrestler or a boxer? Well, turns out the one that wins is the one that can do it both. The one that can fight standing and on the ground.
Hmm.
Well, nowadays, yeah, you have to be well rounded, but back in those days,
Yeah, it was
all,
you were your style. That's all you trained.
right, all it would take would be for Hoist Gracie to take somebody down, and they were a fish out of water.
Yep. Yeah.
That's why Mayweather don't need to go to MMA, and that's why MMA don't need to go to boxing. It's two different sports.
Full circle right here.
I've
Hmm.
said that. I've said that on our podcast many times. Like all these guys calling out boxers and boxers calling out MMA fighters. It's like, yo, stick to your sport. It's totally different. It's apples to oranges.
Hmm.
In boxing, boxing is a specialist sport. You focus on your hands. In MMA, you have so many ways that you can lose. And if you're a boxer and you're coming into MMA thinking that you're going to knock somebody out, well, the first time you're going to try to throw a punch, and they change their level and take you down. What are you going to do?
Yeah, that's
Look,
it.
that's what happened to James Toney. James Toney was talking all the shit that he could beat MMA fighters, blah 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 blah, and came into the UFC, and Randy Couture with first punch, ducked under, got him down, and that was it. And then you have Conor McGregor thinking that he could box with Floyd Mayweather. Come on,
What
there's no
makes me
fucking
mad
way.
is some people think that's how Floyd boxes, and I heard his dad even said wait till the sixth round to start going. And
Yeah,
some people think that um, McGregor was actually in that fight. Everybody's like, "Oh, he had 5 rounds, man. They were going, man, fuck. If he wanted to end it in the first minute."
listen, let me tell you what happened with that fight. That fight was a spectacle.
Yep.
The hype up was so great that you could not watch it.
Mm-mm.
I had
I
20
did.
I had 20 people at my apartment watching that. And we had a great time. It was fun.
And if it
But
would have ended in 1 minute of the first round, you would have been pissed.
completely.
Uh,
Completely.
Yeah,
But
it was done for a reason. I just hate that people actually think that McGregor was in that fight.
he landed a couple of punches.
Yeah, that's
Well,
it, though.
well, big fucking deal.
Yeah. Yeah, he landed a couple of punches and just kind of was left to hang around for what, 6 rounds?
Yeah, then he opened up and just destroyed him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then it was over.
yeah, I'm kind of glad that it ended in the 10. I at least I got my money's worth. You know, so. But
Anyway,
that's all it was. It was a spectacle for the people, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the trash talk. They were both going back and forth at their press conferences, and that was fun.
It was.
But as far as any MMA fighters thinking that they could just step in the ring and school a boxer, that's not going to happen. And same thing, any boxer thinking that they're just going to come in and school an MMA fighter, that's not going to
Right.
happen. You're going to get kicked in the face. You're going to get taken down. You're going to get submitted.
Masvidal's calling out Canelo now.
Yeah,
And
that shouldn't happen.
Canelo's in his fucking prime, dude. That'd be worse than McGregor Mayweather.
Yeah,
Masvidal needs to focus on winning the real gold and not just that BMF belt.
Well, he saw McGregor get 300 million, so he wants three
Yeah.
hundred million.
well, let's be real. That's not going to happen ever again.
No.
He might make 10. Canelo's 300 or
Yeah.
200, whatever the fuck he's making, but he's not gonna make $100 million like Connor did.
Uh-uh.
Mm-mm. No, But we've been on here for about an hour 10 already, guys. So let's go ahead and call it.
All right.
Why don't you go ahead and let the peoples know where they can find you guys? Wallow, go ahead.
Well, we're on Instagram at LRTLK, on Facebook at facebook.com/LRTLK16 for the year that we started, 16. And of course, you can find our podcast on our website, lrtlk.com, and all the major podcast platforms like iTunes, Podbean, Google Play. We're all over the place.
And they've been at it, like he said, for 3 years now. So that's pretty impressive that you've kept it going for that long.
Our next episode will be number 150.
Nice. Wow. That's what we're all striving to do, is just keep it going that long.
Hell yeah.
And Justin, you're closing in on what, episode 50 pretty soon, huh?
Yeah, we're getting there. Of course, find me on here and Into the Woods. And I think I've been on here since you guys started, at least during football season.
Yeah, you've been on probably 30 or 40 of our episodes.
Yeah, so you can find me about anywhere as well. Like I said, I hope to get to that 150 number 2. That's insane.
Yep, that's awesome. And
You just got to keep plugging.
And over at Locker Room Talk, they almost every week talk about UFC. They like to mess up the pound for pound rankings.
Hey, those are the real pound for pound rankings.
Yeah,
Legit.
whenever you're dropping John Jones to like 7th because you don't like him.
Listen, I didn't drop him to 7. I dropped him to number 2. That's it.
Who do you have ahead of John Jones?
Khabib. Until Tony Ferguson beats him.
No,
See, that's another thing. How can you put him as the pound for pound if you're calling for him to lose?
Because he hasn't lost.
Semantics.
And there's no asterisk next to Khabib.
Yeah, there's only an asterisk beside John Jones because you insist on keeping it there. USADA and UFC said he's good to go.
Yeah, USADA is it's a little shady. It's a little faulty. Even some of the older fighters will say that shit.
Well, I'm not going to debate that.
Isn't that right, Brendan Schaub?
Yeah, I'm not going to debate that. Neither is Schaub.
I know we're getting ready to end it, but I think John Jones is one of the best fighters in the world. That's of any sport.
If he took it seriously, and he wasn't fucking around, I mean, I probably I will give it to him, no questions asked.
Ooh, Chris is going to disown you.
Why?
Because you gave props to John Jones.
I've given him props before, on our podcast. I mean, I don't hate John. I just hate the way that he's carried himself, But, a lot of these guys that are on top, that are super successful, they got a little crazy in them anyway. Mm-hmm. I just don't like the fact that, there's been multiple issues with USADA with him. That is my main concern, and obviously that the crash where the lady got hurt or whatever, that also put a bad taste in my mouth about him. But at the end of the day, he didn't kill nobody, so whatever,
Yeah.
He is a great fighter and will probably go down as one of the greatest, if not the greatest.
Yeah, I mean, Zach and I have gone on record as saying that our love for John Jones ends when he walks out of the octagon. When he becomes John Jones, the civilian,
yeah,
we don't really care for him. We think he's a pretty shady individual.
Yeah,
or at least he has been in the past.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I can't judge him too hard because I don't know him personally.
Right.
And I don't want to go on a rant about him without me knowing him personally. But there's always the issues with USADA are always going to sit in my head. The whole, now you're saying that the pulsing effect, is going to carry long term and that it might come up again. Okay, that's cool. But what about the other fighters that tested for the same, metabolite that are still, struggling to even get fights in other federations?
Yeah.
Because you fucking tainted their name. If their name was John Jones, as well, then they probably wouldn't have these issues. I mean, look at Frank Mir. He had the same issue, but he still was suspended for over 2 years.
No.
And
And
I
Frank
just
Mir
don't.
is one of those names that was at the top of the world at one point.
He was. Frank Mir is one of the reasons why I got into jujitsu. Sure, I uh, I was watching Hoist Gracie do his thing, and that was great and all. But once I started watching it more regularly, and I saw Frank Mir doing the things that he was doing, he was one of those guys for me that got me into, man, I want to fucking learn this shit. And I had the privilege of meeting him back in 2016 at an EBI in Los Angeles. So that was pretty cool. Like, I try not to fanboy when I see a lot of people, but I'm like, when am I fucking ever gonna be back here? When am I ever gonna run across Frank Mir?
And
So
was he cool?
oh, he was cool as fuck.
They
He was,
say be careful meeting your heroes and stuff like
yeah.
that. But that's good to hear. I
I
don't
was
want to
actually
meet John Jones for that reason.
I don't know if I was maybe rude because he was talking to somebody. So I was just kind of standing next to him. And when he paused in his conversation and he looked at me, I'm like, Frank, I'm a big fan. I'm sorry to bother you. May I take a photo with you? And he's like, sure, man. And we took a picture and that was it. And I thanked him and I just, kept on going so he
Yep,
could continue his conversation. So
that's awesome.
I, I try to be as polite as possible. If he had said no, fuck off, I would have been like, you know what? It's my fault. He was having a conversation, and I kind of interrupted that.
And you would
So
have fucked right off.
and I would have fucked right off because what the fuck was I gonna do? What the fuck was I gonna say? Fuck you.
Yeah, no.
I won't tell it today. I'll save it. But I've got a story where Shane Mosley came here to our town.
Oh no, tell it. Tell it before we go.
Go,
Oh,
tell it.
Shane Mosley came here. He brought his son to fight and one of his boys to fight my buddy Robert, that's 13th ranked welterweight fighter in the world. Well, he came to John City and he agreed to do all this shit like signings and an after party, because it's a big deal. Shane Mosley coming to our little tiny town. Anyways, my boy Robert beat his boy, all 12 rounds, 12-0. Basically got 10s in every round. Destroyed him. Well, before the fight, first of all, he got pissed off and left, by the way. He didn't do any of the shit he was obligated to do after that. But the funny part is I asked him before the fight to take a picture with my son. I said, Mr. Mosley, I said, my son, he's been boxing for, I think it was like 2 or 3 years at the time. I was like, it'd be an honor if you take a picture with him. And he looked at my son and said, I ain't got time to take any picture right now. And so my sister was with me, and out of my mouth, I immediately said, well, fuck you. Granted, I'm 3 foot taller than this guy. He's tiny.
Good.
And
Good. He deserved it.
Well, yeah, he was a dick. He looked at me, and then my sister grabbed me and pulled me back. My sister said, what in the hell are you doing? I said, what? I said, fuck him. And my sister said, I said, I'm way bigger than he is. She started laughing. She said, he will beat the hell out of you.
Probably.
At the time, I guess it was just that Papa Bear coming out on me. I didn't hesitate.
Yeah.
I was just like, fuck you, right in his face.
He was a dick to your kid. I understand it.
But yeah, that's my
hilarious.
Shane. So I technically should have been beaten up by Shane Mosley. Luckily, he just walked off. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, guys, thank you both for being here. To our audience, thank you guys for listening. We hope you've enjoyed this little chat session that we just had where we basically just discussed whether we thought MMA or boxing was better. I don't know. If you liked it, come back. Go ahead.
They're both great.
They're both great. If you liked it, we hope you'll come back and listen to another episode next week. Zach will most likely be back, and it will probably be more structured because he keeps us on task. So with that being said, tune in next week. We'll see you then. Peace.